Cybercrime is unfortunately a reality in South Africa, and most companies believe they have addressed their security issues by implementing CCTV cameras at their premises or in the workplace. But is this enough? Lawrence Smith, director at GIT, is in studio with me to discuss this technology and how businesses in any industry can harness the technology to extend the benefit of their CCTV investment solutions. Lawrence, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, in September this year, Police Minister Nathi Ntetwa announced the annual crime statistics, and they are down annually or marginally. But business robberies have increased by 7.5%, and they've also increased 380% since 2004. Have you seen an increase in the number of customers knocking on your door, keeping these statistics in mind?
No, we definitely have. Over the last couple of years, our CCTV business has definitely grown. A lot of the companies are trying to use the products now to alleviate the crime issues that they have.
Now, you've introduced a new system. It was in June this year. What is the difference between your BriefCam VS forensic system and traditional CCTV?
The difference basically with traditional CCTV is you're recording video, but there's never enough people or eyes around to actually watch the video that you're recording.
Yeah, there's 24 hours in a day.
Correct. So what happens with our product is we take it differently. We take the video footage that you've already recorded, put it through an analytical engine, and from that analytics we sit down and we give you a synopsis of what the actual video events look like for the day. So we can take effectively about a day's worth of video and synopsis, bring it down into a couple of minutes worth of video for you to look through and find the events that actually worry you.
Now let's take a look at the technology. Is it homegrown or was it imported?
No, it's imported technology. We're the current local distributors for the product, but it was originally developed in Israel.
And speaking of Israel, we know that it has one of the best development and technology universities in the world. Do you feel that this type of technology is innovative enough to spread to South Africa?
Definitely. It's a technology that's been used worldwide at the moment, and it's about time South Africa started to use some of these products as well.
What has the traction been since implementation in June?
A lot of interest in the product. A lot of the security companies are looking at now for post-analysis of their video itself. But we're also finding that there's now a move to companies to actually use it for business intelligence as well. So as opposed to just using it purely for security, you've also got the position where the people are saying, I can use this now to see which rows in the supermarket people walk down and which ones they don't. Those type of technologies suddenly take it, and instead of only investing money in security, you get in a double-edged sword for the same investment.
So multiple uses on the system.
Correct.
Now let's take a look at the human factor. It's always an issue, and with technology even more so. What's the likelihood of human error with the system, and is there a place for even manipulation of the footage? We've seen it all in the movies where someone does something and somebody internally goes in, wipes the footage or manipulates it to maybe erase some time codes. Yeah.
Fortunately, the whole idea behind the product is you're taking the original video footage, send it through an analytical engine, and then you bring in the video back to the original footage once you've picked up something that worries you. So although you might try and manipulate the data, as long as the original footage is still there, you've always got the original footage.
Now, where's the footage stored? We all know about, we've heard cloud computing, servers. Okay. Where is the video footage hosted?
Well, we rely on the actual CCTV equipment that clients already have for the footage. So they then take that video, send it to an external disk, and we take the external disk and use that to analyze the video itself. So ultimately, there's always two copies, one being the original footage that the client has and the copy that they've given to us to analyze as well.
In terms of the legal system, how admissible is evidence like this?
Generally, the evidence from the analytics wouldn't be usable in court, but the original footage, assuming it's been correctly recorded, it's properly time-stamped, date-marked and so on, would be usable in the normal situation that a court would allow footage to be used. We have seen evidence in the past where footage isn't allowed in court purely because there's no collaboration evidence to say, I saw the person walk into the room. So even though you can see a full image of the person, their face and their body language, if the person denies that it was them, the courts have in the past gone and said, sorry, this isn't admissible.
Let's talk about resolution. What is the image quality of the visuals?
Image quality is dependent on the original footage that you come. So effectively, if you give us an HD input, we'll have an HD output coming out of the system, which will link back to the original HD video. If you give us poor quality video, ultimately you're going to end up with poor quality coming out of it.
You shoot yourself in the foot, essentially.
Correct, yes.
Now, you mentioned that you use clients' existing CCTV infrastructure.
Correct.
Let's talk about cost and affordability. If we take a look at the crime statistics, the majority of business owners being hit are small to medium-sized companies, which we know do not have the cash flow of the bigger corporates. How affordable is a system like this for your average business owner in South Africa?
Well, there's two ways of looking at it. The one way is to actually purchase the equipment, which it is quite expensive to buy, which would make it probably unaffordable for the very small businesses. But a lot of the security companies are also offering a bureau type service where you can bring the footage into them, they'll analyze it to you and give it back to you at a reasonable cost. So ultimately, think of it from a practical side. If you have a robbery, you've got 16 cameras, 2 hours of robbery, that's 32 hours of video to watch for the 16 cameras. Nobody can sit there and watch that video and get a proper indication of what's happened in this time that you've got. Take our video synopsis product, you give the video back into them in about 5-10 minutes worth of a video clip. You can see every single event that happened and bring it back to the original footage again.
Let's talk about the future of this technology. It is in South Africa. You brought it in June. What developments, what new developments can we see taking the international arena into consideration?
Well, one of the things that they've looked at doing is adding more tools into the analytics. So you can search on certain things like excluding movement in certain areas. You can include movement in certain areas of the screen. They're also looking at adding in technology along the lines of being able to search on color and shape. So ultimately, to get the summary of what you're looking for, the tools are going to currently exist and are going to be more tools to be able to sit down and reduce that.